So like, for example, in Malaysia, you can go for a run. You can run on a sidewalk. But bro, sidewalk ends suddenly and you're like, dude, where am I going now, dude? You know, I can die right now. I have to U-turn already.
Always a tree, what?
Or a tree in the middle.
It's always there.
Yeah, the city planning is irreversible at this point. I think Vic told me like a Malaysian owns 2 cars. Like for every one Malaysian, 2 cars or something like that.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Yeah, and it never scales downwards. It only scales upwards. So we're put in that situation where I feel like it's quite endgame already, Malaysia. Welcome back to Yamcha Sessions, VeryFastOne VFO. Today is the 9th of March 2024. MJ, what will we be talking about today?
We're talking about migration, right? Whether we should leave the country.
In 2024.
Specifically.
Or actually across all, I guess, right? Is it worth staying in Malaysia? Is
Malaysia still worth it, Vic?
Yes. That was just thrown on you, bro.
Tanah tumpahnya darahku, bro.
Wow. Wow.
All right, then.
Wow. Justin, what about you, Justin?
Wait, that was the answer.
Oh, that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
Depends, I guess. Here is nice because you can do a lot of stuff, like illegal things.
We want to say, right, illegal doesn't mean
Whatever illegal
immoral
things.
or unethical. It can, but
it's borderline unethical, but you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Like, some people.
True.
But it's just that if you work hard enough to reach a certain level in society, you can do pretty much a lot of things.
That's
which
true.
You cannot do in certain Western countries. Or
I think the key word
Even
is
down south in Singapore.
even Singapore is like you can't,
can't even chew gum, bro.
Can't vape, right? I think.
Can't vape.
Or like very restrictive.
Can't bring in.
vape.
I think
Can't bring in.
IQOS also cannot bring in.
What can I vape?
Wow, IQOS we can bring in.
Not
So you say, what was that?
IQOS.
The cigarette that you can put in and then it heats up one.
Or the electric cigarette. lah.
Yeah.
Anything electric, I think.
Yeah. Only cigarettes in Singapore.
It's smoke proper, which is. Wait. So I can burn stuff in the air and then the electric one,
It's a machine where you can insert a smaller cigarette inside and it heats the tobacco rather than it burning the tobacco. So it's supposedly like no tar and whatever. It's still got nicotine. So in Singapore, it's just flat ban. Only cigarettes basically.
I think someone also wrote. No, there's an FAQ. If you can check that one. There's an
on
FAQ.
IQOS, right?
No, for the Singapore thing that they ban, and then they say one of the questions was did Singapore ban this because you cannot tax it? Then they say no, the government can tax it if you want, but we ban it because of reasons, whatever.
Yes and no. I feel that no, because what Justin and Vic says also, Vic is indirectly saying patriotism, right? You should be proud of
We
what
will
you-
ask him to expand on that later, but go ahead.
I mean, I would like to think I am somewhat patriotic. If people were to ask me, where are you from? I'm like, I'm Malaysian and I'm from Malaysia. I would say things like that. I wouldn't say I'm Chinese, but I live in Malaysia, unless they ask me to provide an explanation. Secondly, also, I think the key word is flexibility in Malaysia. Like what you earn over here. I think like what you said, you earn a certain amount.
But that being said, right, if you're a chum, right, I think it's better to be chum elsewhere.
If you are B40, I think if you can
get
migrate
small.
better. Yeah.
What is chum? Shy.
Charm, like that's sad. Yeah, you're very
Like
pitiful.
tough.
Actually, 80% of people who migrate from Malaysia to Singapore are in that, like they earn less than 2,000 Sing.
Because you'd rather be in the service industry or blue collar jobs in Singapore. I think, Justin was telling me how like in Singapore, a lot of people don't want to do their own things, like fix their own light bulbs. They don't want to paint their own walls. So if you just go there, you change light bulb, 100 Sing, you don't want. Change 10 light bulb, like, walao. Bro, who's gonna change 10 light bulb?
Hey, Singaporeans, can you clarify for us? Is changing a light bulb going to set you back 100 Sing? Let us know.
Something like that, right? It's along the lines. So
House tasks, like things you do. Maybe you don't have the tools for it. Or
Yeah. So I think it's partly very frustrating it's frustrating both ways. It's frustrating both ways. So if you are in Malaysia, it's very cheap labor. Paint your whole house for under 3K, 2K, flooring for 3K. It's quite affordable, if you learn how to save up to that amount.
If you are the higher end of M40 or T20.
But technically that's also the problem, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it's cheap, That's why they're
You
not
abuse.
earning as much.
Yes.
Well,
You know.
I would say it's not. I would say that's just the rate lah. Because someone else out there, typically, other like Bangladeshis or that are willing to match or
They're willing to do the hard labor for that amount because of their currency, and they can send back the ringgit, which is a bit more superior. So I think ultimately a lot of times human beings are just, you want more, and it's within our nature to want more to develop. So the answer is, if I were to migrate, I would love to migrate to Australia personally. You know, I think the work-life balance there is damn nice. I did an event setup in Australia one time. Guy came in wearing shorts, bro. I'm like, jeez, what I would do to do event setup in shorts way. In summer, so cooling.
I agree with that. If I were to migrate, it would be either Australia or certain states in the US, Texas or Florida, maybe not California or New York.
But the thing is, I think the older you grow, I feel like you want to stay in Malaysia more. lah. So
100%.
yeah,
True.
It's one of the best like place for retirees.
yeah.
Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But yeah, my view is, I wouldn't say out of patriotism. I'm just grateful for where I am. And, you know, going from, if you started at B40 at M40, going to T20 is not necessarily the hardest thing to do. Because I feel like socio-economic mobility in Malaysia is not very, what's the word?
It's not damn.
It's not very rigid.
possible.
Like if you do well your freelancing jobs or whatever, right? Wow, you can be T20 faster than you imagine.
Work
Although,
hard, I mean, you try hard. But the thing is, a lot of people also, I think they're motivated to just follow a certain thing. Oh, just go to work every day. And then you forget about the dream. You forget about the building.
What you love.
Unless you have a really strong drive, like, oh, I really want to live this life.
Yeah.
But a lot of people get comfortable, right? It's like, oh, chocolate, okay. Wow.
yeah, Malaysia is very comfortable. Yeah. I was just reading a Reddit post. This guy is a lawyer, like a decent lawyer. But he said, 2-3K as a single guy enough to do.
Actually,
It's not, right? Everyone here agree that 2-3K as a single guy, 2-3K, $24, okay?
Yeah.
Is that sufficient for everybody?
Fundamentally, yes, if you don't have any liability.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you stay with your parents, 3K more than enough.
That's also what you want to do, I guess, right? If you have very low expectation, not say low expectation, low goal, not say goals.
cost of living,
like-
standard of lifestyle.
Like to you, like I just want to have a simple life and I'm really happy.
Yeah.
Because especially after COVID, right, you realize that the time with the family, all this, you can't
Can't pay.
money. Right?
Yeah, you know, right, the thing about cost of living as well is, you know, people comment about how food has gone up in Malaysia.
Price. Yeah.
So my initial reaction is like, yeah, actually Malaysia sucks because ringgit drop, inflation and all that. As if inflation only hit Malaysia. Malaysians think only inflation hit Malaysia. So what I realized is, let's say even if you spend, how much do you spend on food a month?
A month?
A month, yeah.
About 2K?
2K?
Oh, I think less. I think half of that.
No, but you because
No way.
you share with Chen, right?
Yeah, I do share with Jen.
So let's say if you're alone,
if I was alone,
one person.
holy crap, bro.
500-600.
I should have cursed like God.
No, we can beep out. You curse less with less beeping. Anyways.
Yeah. I honestly think I could live, provided I want to. I'm on this fitness thing right now. So if I continue to want to lose weight, maybe half or one, or maybe less also. 800 maybe.
800, okay.
Because if you count what, chicken rice with that $15 there,
Oh.
right? With your extra chicken, that's $30 a day.
Yeah, $30 a day.
Yeah.
So times 330 is 900.
Yeah.
I will. So you're sharing me your answers, and I'm going to do some calculations for everybody. But yeah, you're so it's 800.
So it's about 1,000, within 1,000.
800, 1,000.
About 1,002 maybe.
As a single person lah.
Not with my partner.
No, just you.
Just me.
Because everyone gave their just me figure.
Okay, just me. My total expenditure per month just on myself will be in the region of 1,002 to 1,005. Just on myself, everything inclusive.
No, just
Food.
We're talking about food.
Food. Let's just say 1,000 ringgit.
Wow, yeah. More or
Okay,
less.
so let's say 1,000, right?
And that's actually like quite high, you know.
Yeah.
So what do you think, right? We all know COVID was part of the thing that caused the cost of living to go up, right? What do you all think is the percentage increase? We all say 40%.
No lah, not 40% lah. I would say maybe 20%, I think.
20%.
What I'm feeling. But then again, I'm living in my own bubble, bro. I work here, I live here. You know.
But you are living in the Klang Valley, right, where inflation would feel pretty big.
Side topic, went to Puchong with Nick and Justin and Yong the other day. Kai Fan is damn cheap in Puchong, by the way.
Market,
I didn't say we're in Puchong, but I'm just saying maybe
Puchong is a very big place, okay, for those who are listening who don't know. Very big place. You say 20-30%, you agree, John?
I think 30-40, but then because it went up like 5%, 10%.
Yeah, like net lah. You just add everything
30,
together.
40% definitely.
Right. You agree?
Price-wise, 30%.
Yeah.
But I think totality, what is being served to you, I think probably 40-50%. Okay. Because not only they increase the price, but they reduce what they give you.
Shrinkflation, right?
Yeah.
So let's say it's 40%, right? So a lot of people complain. I say, okay, look, if you spend 1K a month, and you guys are all Klang Valley people, right? You spend 1K a month, and let's say the same thing happened and it costs another 40% increase. So that amount will have grown to 1,004, right? Now you're spending 400 ringgit extra. Now the question I have to everybody, right? Do you believe that you can do something without too much effort to make an additional 400 ringgit a month?
So the question is it a lot of effort to earn the additional 400 ringgit? Is what you're asking?
To cover the inflation lifestyle increase.
I can easily do it lah.
I mean, if you have a full-time job, then
400 okay actually.
No, but then that's the thing. I think it's easier to just cut half and make 200 instead. Right?
You could, let's say you do not want to compromise the lifestyle.
Compromise.
You say, how difficult is it to make extra 400 ringgit a month?
I don't think it's very difficult because it's an extra 10, 15 ringgit a day, right?
Yeah.
I think up to 1,000 ringgit is quite easy to make in Malaysia.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Opportunity is abundant.
Right? Because people focus too much. And it may not seem like it's relevant to the migration question. But I think a lot of people who want to migrate out are talking about, because they're all very difficult, very charming, right? But if I put into context, right, I think most people in Malaysia are not spending 1,000 ringgit on food a month.
Yeah, man. Malaysia.
Malaysia. You guys are a Klang Valley people, that's why.
Yeah.
And specific type of lifestyle in Klang Valley. Right?
Yeah.
This is more akin to the Damansara kind of spending habits. Right?
Okay.
So, like I said, that is the struggle you have to face. How can I earn 400 ringgit more to maintain my lifestyle?
It's very easy actually.
Exactly. So what exactly is the issue, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But for me, I feel like if you were to go back to the migration question, it's not about the money also. I feel like it's the time. Like expectations in different countries are a bit different in terms of culture, right?
Yes.
So if I were to, let's say I want to move to Japan, which I don't.
Yeah.
It's very based on like loyalty in the workplace. So if you stay there, you have to stay minimum 4 to 5 years before you make a jump to a different company to get an increment, because they rarely give increment in Japan. It's just a cultural thing over there. You know, you have to power your way through, right? But if you were to go to Australia, I think at least I still have time for myself. I'm not expected to stay in the office till 10. Whereas I think in Malaysia, you're somewhere in between.
Yes.
So if let's say I'm earning, let's say 5k ringgit a month, I'm still expected to stay back because it's the cultural thing to stay back. Like, oi, how can you go back, right? You know, that kind of thing. Especially when you're in a slightly higher position, or if you're in a lower position but you want to prove your worth. So you're always feeling this external pressure. Whereas in Australia, it's a collective. It's time to clock out.
Yeah. I think the thing that's holding me back to say like Australia is a slam dunk place for me to migrate is the taxes.
Yeah.
Like there's a price to pay for that kind of lifestyle that you want.
Yeah.
Which is if you are a top earner, half to 60% is gone.
Yeah.
I find that wild because, you know, if you have to give 50% of your income to taxes, you know what that really means? It means, right, you're working for a full year and you get paid 6 months pay.
Yeah. But the thing is, right, it's reflected.
Yeah. You get a lot of these benefits, the government take care of you.
Yeah, it's reflected. Over here, I think in Malaysia, I don't know what the highest tax bracket is. It's like 40%. Is it?
20,
No,
23.
No,
the highest, bro. The
highest is 20. Now it's 30. But then there's a gradation one. The effective tax rate is lower.
So let's just cap it at 30 lah, right? Yeah. So even if I put it at 20, bro, I rarely see like my life change. Generally speaking, as a Malaysian, you see like healthcare is generally going to be the same.
Healthcare is good.
No, yeah, okay. I think to your point, if let's say it's an effective rate is 20%, I feel like the value we get is 10% to 15%. Like I have to say that I agree. Healthcare is really solid. Not the greatest. I wouldn't say
incredible,
but it's like
passing rate.
Yeah, and I think our public transport has improved tremendously.
That's only because of Danilo, but okay.
Right? Like I've said the MRTs now, it's like pretty good. We still have last mile issues, I feel. Like we cannot just walk.
Hence the scooter and the e-bike
but
user.
Yet they have not legalized it yet.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
Yeah. So that's Malaysia for you, right? So I feel like we get 20%, but we get 10% value rather than 20%. I think that's what the frustration is.
Yeah, but you see, I think like when I go to first world countries, which is always the case, right? You don't want to migrate to a lower country. Most of the time, if you migrate, okay, maybe if you migrate, it's either you got damn crazy wealth, you migrate to whack the shit out of the country you're moving to, or you want to migrate for like better quality of life. So I think if I were to move, it's basically for quality of life. For me, I know there is like somewhat a cap in Malaysia also. If you're not a business owner or you're not a...
You mean like earning potential you're talking about?
Right, so if you go there immediately, like quality of life is so good. I think produce is really good there as well. Environment, you know, it's a little bit safer. I think education-wise there is a lot higher quality. Overall, you know. So over here, like it starts with one compromise, which is what you're saying, right? 20%, but you only get 10% to 15% value. So like, for example, in Malaysia, you can go for a run. You can run on a sidewalk, but bro, sidewalk ends suddenly and you're like, dude, where am I going now, dude? You know, I can die right now. I have to U-turn already.
Always a tree, what?
Or a tree in the middle.
It's always there.
Yeah, the city planning is irreversible at this point. I think Vic told me like a Malaysian owns 2 cars, like for every one Malaysian 2 cars or something like that.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Yeah, and it never scales downwards. It only scales upwards. So we're put in that situation where I feel like it's quite endgame already, Malaysia. Unless you have flying cars one day. And then there was another whole new story.
But that's also mainly a KL or city problem.
It's a city problem.
The moment you go out, it's actually quite chill and quite nice.
Yeah.
But making money there, then that's a different thing.
I would say that even within Klang Valley, there is what's the word? You can find spots where you do not experience something. Like for example, right, Setia Alam. It's far out from where we stay, but Setia Alam is well kept and it's a bit like a Singapore, but like wider roads and suburban.
Yeah,
it's all this, like DPC, all these new townships.
Which create that community for you.
So
but I want to be accessible to the city. That's the thing. So like if I go to like let's say Perth in Australia, I'm not even talking about Sydney and Melbourne. If I go to like Brisbane, right, like the city is a stone's throw away via public transportation.
Yeah, getting to your point, right? But I think in terms of like quality of life in these new beautiful townships, I think it's great. But it only happens from 5 to 9 the next morning. And then after that, you have to drive 2 hours into KL. I think even Cyberjaya to an extent is a beautiful place to stay. But now the jam starts from Cyberjaya.
Which
all the way till KL.
Deters you from...
So unless everyone remotely work, then awesome.
Then metaverse.
But I wanna ask you guys. I think just now I mentioned the stat, right? 50% of people from Malaysia who migrates go down to Singapore. So I think this is a juicy question, right? Would you migrate to Singapore?
Nope.
So now 2024 the question.
2024, and you can answer future self as well.
Okay.
No, because I think things are really expensive. I mean, start off with accommodation. I think real estate prices there are really expensive, even when it comes to rent. One of my ex-bosses who was staying there for the longest time, he also moved back to his place of origin. And I don't think their salary has increased as much for them to sustain their life as a single man or even as a couple if you want to move there. And secondly, it is a structured place. You need to understand why do you want to move to a place. Is it because the 3x and you think it's just one bridge away? I think it's not a valid reason for you to move to Singapore. Unless you are a T20 in Singapore as a salaried person, then maybe you have a case to move. But apart from that, I think Malaysia has a lot of opportunities because it is not very well structured. Like to his first point, maybe like 10 minutes ago, you can do a lot of things in between the lines and, not...
It's more free in that sense.
Yes.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Singapore, no.
So I similar because of the high cost of it. But at the end of the day, you do appreciate that if you like being told what to do, I think it's quite a simple life. Like you just kind of go like, okay, and everything's clean and nice and you get all the nice things you like. But you have to stick in your head, it's like, oh, I probably can't drive. I probably have.
But Justin's a car guy.
Yeah. So, it's the feeling like, okay, I mean, you're happy, but yet you're limited in what you can do unless you go crazy. Like you get, a lot of money. But then if you do, you can stay anywhere, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be stuck in one place, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
I have this thing, right? When I was younger, I used to love Singapore because I felt like it was really structured and a lot of things were like accessible, it's somewhat safe, and then the obviously the SGD is very attractive, and things like that. Then I also thought it would be like damn romantic if you date a girl and then like you all go on train station and all that.
the
Train station now.
Oh, like wow, quite
mad, bro.
Because
MRT romance.
Like Japan also, like you take train station, meet each other at the station. Then I grow older, I realized, right, actually, isn't it cooler to swing by your girl's house in a car and be like, hey, hop on in, girl. Then after that, you can drive around, park somewhere, have McD, look at the view. I think that's like amazing, So this jump, right, was like 6 months difference with me, Before this, I'm like, wow, I wish I was in a country where the public transportation is so short. After 6 months later, I got a girlfriend. Wow, damn sick to have a car, bro. So easily swayed, bro.
Yeah, and you can't do it the MRT lah. So.
Then, but overall also, like going back to that whole structural thing, right? I think you appreciate it only when you are in a place of no structure. But I think when you're in a structured area, you appreciate the no structured area. It's like grass is always greener on the other side, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. If you remember in the previous podcast, I said that I always make it a point to visit Singapore 2 to 3 times a year because I need to remind myself why I do not like to stay there.
Yeah.
Really, I feel like it's a cramped place. Everything works out there. Okay, let's be clear. But I think over the years, right, let's call it a 10 to 15 year time period, I've seen Malaysia close the gap, especially in the Klang Valley.
Yeah.
If Singapore is a 10, Singapore is a 10 in efficiency. I think Malaysia used to be at 5 or 6. We are now approaching 7 to 8 already.
Yeah.
Like you can get depending on your luck, but sometimes your passports,
quite efficient.
It's actually quite
very
efficient.
fast. Yeah.
Like and even trains, right? In Singapore, 2 minutes, very very fast. Sometimes 1 minute. Malaysia maybe 3 to 4. Now you might say, well, see, double the time is slow. But honestly, is the 2 minutes really
gonna change your life?
No, I just pick up 5 minutes earlier, right? So people talk about that, and that's really what Singapore is about, right? We want to be number one. Another one, classic case, is the passport. Where we say, you see, Malaysia, we are only the 12th best passport in the world or something like that.
What's the point of being?
And Singapore is number 1. So my question is, what do you get at number 1 that you don't get at number 12? Go to Israel, that's it.
Essentially.
Does going to Israel matter? And by the way, if Malaysians want to go to Israel, right, you just have to triangulate. There's always a jalan. So there's no doubt that a lot of all these things, right, Singapore is superior, but it's not that much superior.
No, it's not.
For me too.
I think it's also because like when you're younger, and I'm deviating a little bit, this for me, when I'm younger, it's like everything you see is bright and shiny. So when bright and shiny equals good. So you see Singapore bright, shiny, good. Then you grow older, actually bright, shiny doesn't mean always good because it comes with something and it's always at a cost. So if you like go to Japan the first time, it's bright and shiny, right? Everything looks great. Still. But after a week, you're like, oh, I cannot do this. I need my car. I really like the space in my car. Even the food, the variety is incredible here. Then even like, it doesn't need to be clean. The thing is, I feel like we look at cleanliness as such a priority, but actually, does it really like matter, like the degree of cleanliness? Sometimes passing clean is okay too. Like Hong Kong is not exactly very clean, right? So I think as you grow older, you're like, actually, I can forego a lot of these little things, the bright and shiny, because I know that easiness and laid back life is actually a lot more livable.
I would modify that. I would say actually it's not. Yeah. I think everyone agrees it's a more laid back life in Malaysia. But I think with Malaysia, you get to play around with the knob. So if you want a laid back life,
you can dial it up, dial it down.
You can. It's true. Like 2-3K a month. 2-3K in Singapore, forget it, but you cannot work until you're 89, you know.
Yeah.
But 2-3K a month in Malaysia, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You probably have your house paid off and then you just chill out, right? But then if you decide one day I want to earn 30,000-40,000 ringgit a month, there's a playbook for that.
Yes. Right. Somewhat, to some extent. And there are contacts in Malaysia that can help you get there too.
Yeah. Right? Like, but if you're in Singapore, I want to earn 30,000-40,000 Sing. I feel like it's quite difficult. Maybe a Singaporean can correct me in the but what do Singaporeans have to do to earn 30?
Probably work corporate job more than 2 decades.
Whereas Malaysia, you can do that, but that's not the only part.
The corporate way is not the end all be all.
Right.
It's
so
true.
I feel like that's something to think about.
The thing that I only think about is like if you migrate, it's only for the country overall like ecosystem also. So like if you're going to that country, it better be worth that ecosystem. Yeah. So because you can't control government, you only can control what you can do personally, individual, or even as a family. So if you go to Singapore and you know that you want that safety, you want the accessibility, you want the public transport, you want the, I think it's okay if you want that. It's okay if you want to go to Australia for that. But you go for that.
I think if we add 2 aspects of Singapore to maybe Klang Valley, because I feel outside of Klang Valley, a lot of things are not as rushed. So which means you got a lot more space for you to travel. You don't get stuck in traffic congestion and things like that. Maybe Penang, maybe Klang Valley
to some extent.
Yeah, Johor to some extent. But I think if we bring in the pillar of security, public security, and the last mile, or maybe rather let me go one level higher, town planning. I think if we add these 2 pillars, if we perfect these 2 pillars, it's a way more livable place than Singapore.
Actually,
Add more greens, be more humane, add more parks. Look at like say OUG, there's like park every 3 rows.
Yeah.
But these days you just want to build high rise, blah blah blah, be super capitalistic about things, but you don't care about how people live in that place. Yeah. So I think if you just add these 2, I think we sort.
I had a podcast with somebody, I forgot, and then we were blaming town planning to some extent. I was like saying how town planning in Malaysia is so poor. And then an older generation man was complaining like, you all don't know how difficult it was, we all did this. And I'm like, actually, honestly, I don't know lor. I look at a lot of countries in the world, it's just grid system. Grid system so easy. Like everything is just uniform.
It is better.
Unless you want to convert already something that's there to a grid system, that's a bit tough.
I just want to add, sorry. In terms of public transportation, right? I've been taking public transport until at the age of maybe when I went to uni, I stopped taking. Okay. But when I grew up in Klang, public transportation was simple because you didn't have condos and blah blah blah, all this private land. Okay. You get to the bus station, you know exactly where it's going to stop. You know every single stop till the last stop. And then what happened was there's like new development, blah blah blah. And then there is a huge miscommunication between all these private developments and also maybe the state government or the district or whoever. So then all these routes does not get rerouted. You follow the same old thing.
Oh my God.
Look at OUG, right? Bukit Jalil last time was Bukit Jalil. Where's the Bukit now, bro? It's just...
Oh yeah, it's Jalil now.
Yeah, condominium Jalil now, okay? But the bus route is still the same. So getting back to the point of last mile. Now you got Awan Besar station. There is all these new stations. But where is the last mile?
No last mile.
Yeah, and then you got a lot of this private development. The people who benefit is if you happen to stay where the train station was built, then you benefit lah. Yeah. But then they start building in like Puncak Jalil, also quite near, maybe like 5 kilometers away. But then they have no accessibility to all these new stations.
Yep.
So then again, no rerouting of like the last mile.
Yep. Most of the time lah. Yeah. I feel like we've deviated from one question quite far already lah.
Sorry.
But I mean, but I think it's giving context to, I think it's just adding color to our decision making. Because this last mile thing needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Plan needs to be fixed.
Yeah, that's true.
And there are other countries, especially Singapore, that does it better.
I think also maybe this is like a very surface level thing to put in also lah. Sometimes right, like for me, I have eczema, so I have a skin condition. So if I lived in a place like here, humidity wise is quite bad lah. I get itchy, sweaty and shit like that. But when I go to a 4-season country, I only suffer like this during the summer lah maybe. So to me, I think also that also plays to a certain extent.
But that's the thing, you think about it, a lot of countries actually don't have a good system, but it's just that it's cooling to walk.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, because if here I were to walk from, say, some like half an hour or something, right? Sweaty, and then you go to work or something, it's tough, huh?
It's tough.
That's why we really need that, last mile thing.
And also Singapore, I feel is a lot more smaller to manage. So you just do a lot of underground walkways, which is easier. I think we tried to do it over here, like in KL, like you know that walkway from Pavilion to KLCC and all that. It's okay. It's not that bad. I've walked on it before. It's kind of like Bangkok, where you know that
Bintang walk.
it's not bad, but it's just that.
Actually, we got a lot of hidden bike lanes also, you know.
Oh, is it?
Like along the river and all that, right? So actually, it's quite nice, a scenic route, and you can actually take bicycle and all that. But then the thing is, they don't allow the electric thing yet, right? You can still do it.
Grey area.
Grey area, but you know.
And to the point about security, right? I think we lack CCTVs. I think our CCTV per capita needs to be a lot higher.
Maybe also. Double-edged sword.
No, only for the city lah.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, not going to do it in the suburb area lah, but the city, right?
But you know, in Japan, they have that thing, right? Where you go, if you loiter around, you hear that sound, that high pitch. Yeah, if they brought that in here, I think it would work.
They do have it. Lalaport has it. But that's why now nobody go Lalaport. It's this high frequency thing that only can be heard by people under like 30 years old.
Oh,
yeah, as you hear it. but
no, I mean like
it just hurts you. You know,
you can hear it one. So you go to Lalaport, you go to the entrances, and you just stand at the entrance where the wind is blowing very hard in between the aircon and non-aircon area. So if you're there, right, you will hear this extremely high frequency like noise, and it sounds like a mosquito in your ear, but a bit more painful.
What's the purpose?
It's to discourage people from spending more time there, especially youth.
Loiter on the.
But older generations are welcome to sit there and chill and all that because very few
can hear it.
Yeah, so the older you grow, you don't hear it. Yeah, but when you're young and you're like a baby or whatever, your eardrums are super sensitive. You can hear it. You definitely. I can't explain it.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's everywhere in Japan. It's like that high frequency thing, and then you can even play it on YouTube, and it can even go through the podcast. So, but we don't have audio on here, lah. So it's quite sad, lah. But I did this experiment in my office as well. So I asked people from the younger one to the older one. The younger you are, the more painful it is, one.
Yeah. So if I summarize everyone's reason and remind me if I miss it, right? The first is you wouldn't migrate is because you like cars. Yeah. That's one. The second thing is career prospects are a bit overrated.
Quite.
Earnings, right? Because although you will times 3 or 3.5, whatever it is now, the upwards trajectory is very difficult. And I would just add to that part that by law, if you join, for every Malaysian that joins, I believe in the service sector, there must be one Singaporean hired as well. I don't know if you know this rule.
Wow. Wait, for one Malaysian
service sector.
Oh, so like waiter.
Yeah, I think it's especially like the office jobs. You can't be like technically, right? If you're Singaporean, okay, this is what I hear from a lot of Singaporean employers. They say, or even employees, they say Malaysians are pretty much us, but work harder for less money. So if logically, right, if you're a Singaporean employer, right, why would you ever hire Singaporeans?
Oh, you just whack all the Malaysians.
Just whack all the Malaysians, and then great. That's what I'll do if I'm in Singapore. I'll like 100% remote. I pay Malaysia. I just pay 2/3 of
the salary.
Of the salary that I'll pay in Australia, right? So there's always going to be a cap, right? I still remember watching one parliament sitting because you learn a lot from Singaporean parliaments compared to Malaysian. Malaysian is entertainment. One is education. In Singapore, Malaysia is entertainment. The parliament difference, right? So they did a survey on Singaporeans, right? And then they said, what do you think of foreigners coming to earn? And usually when they mean foreigners, they mean non-white people. That's what they mean.
When you're white, suddenly expat.
Yeah. When you're white, you're an expat. When you're not white, you're a foreigner. You're an immigrant. So they say, what do you think of immigrants coming here to earn money? Say, no problem, as long as they don't earn more than me. Which for me doesn't make sense.
That's what they say in Parliament.
No. They did a study on Singaporeans. What do they think? And so he's reporting the findings to the Parliament and saying this is what they. So I feel like this doesn't sound too meritocratic, but anyway. So I think there's always going to be that gap, unless you give up your passport and become Singaporean lah. Then maybe you can climb higher. So that's one, and then of course the cost. Right? Anything else you want to add?
What if that migration to Singapore thing? But does it include staying in Johor and working in Singapore and doing?
No, if you do that, I think you are not a Singaporean. You'll be a Malaysian.
Fully Singaporean.
Yeah. Wow. They even have certain laws. Like let's say you have a HDB, which is the public housing equivalent in Singapore. 90% of people have HDBs, right? If you cannot go to another country and then rent out your HDB and stay in another country. You will be forced to sell your HDB. Yeah. And a lot of Singaporeans are scared to take advantage of it because they're scared of the government. So there are a lot of all this.
I don't like that fear. I really don't like that fear. Like I think that's why when I was in the US, I didn't have that. It's kind of like you do anything you want to do. You can like smoke on the street. You know, you can do fun things lah. You know how like in the US they can like tie their shoes together and throw it up onto the power rail, and that's like, oh, you're hiding drugs from the cops, you run.
I'm surprised you haven't done it here, right?
They chill. You know, and then like it feels as if it allows room for like people to experiment, do be creative and all that. But then when you go to Japan or you go to Singapore, right, you feel like there's Big Brother looking at you the whole time, man. Like you know, like when you go and smoke in Singapore, if you're not in the yellow box, you just feel as if like, and I'm not saying I didn't smoke in the yellow box, I'm just saying it would feel that way, you know?
You feel like you kena red card like that, you know?
Yeah.
Time out.
Yeah. It's more like second class citizen. Right? You really feel like, oh, you are the lower.
Yeah. And I don't like that feeling. Even in Japan, I don't like that feeling. After a while, you just feel like, wow.
But Japan, you kind of more like, okay, I want to respect your
culture.
Whereas Singapore is more like, oh,
I have a question. Do you all feel, so one of the things about Singapore is that a lot of people are very conscious about social status. So the day I sent an article in the group talking about how this girl say that one of her best decisions in her life was dating down. She was like, I dated down this guy who wasn't as educated and earned half what I did. And it was one of the best moments. One of the best decisions of my life. Then the comment section went at her of like doing this. Do you feel as Malaysians, we are not very sensitive about our privilege, our social status? Like if you meet a guy who's is richer than you, you don't feel the gap that big. Versus the reverse are smaller.
I can feel both.
But
depends how the guy on top acts as well.
Yeah.
Some people will act like, ooh, no, I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. Then that's.
You gotta.
It depends how you receive it, or how they portray themselves.
I see.
Yeah, it depends.
You gotta meet more people from Sri KL, bro.
I've seen my friends.
I say that our comments actually gonna screw me over, bro.
That's only Sri KL. We haven't touched.
No lah. I mean, this was my era lah. I feel a lot of them have at that time lah. At that time, I don't know about now.
But there are some really nice people too.
Yeah, there are nice people too.
Exhibit A.
Yeah, I was from Sri KL.
For a moment,
Hey, 4 years, bro.
4 years.
Yeah, but I just felt that lah. A lot of times, you know, they would have that conversation, like what that car your dad drive.
Right.
Oh, then it's very distinct already.
It's also the personality and so how they brought up.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, right?
I met a lot of very nice people too.
You know what's interesting is that a lot of people who are not at that level also like to have this kind of social conversation, like what car you drive, what you earn.
But then there's also a lot of people who are not at that level who want to act like that.
Yeah.
I think, I've arrived.
Bro, you front door only lah, chill man. But I think the last one to add, and this is something that a lot of Malaysians need to know, right? So many people compare, of course, Singaporean, when you convert, you earn more, right? But it also costs more. So therefore, the conversation should center around dollar to dollar. And many people say that, look, KL median salary is about 4K ringgit, and then in Singapore, it's about 5K Sing. So a lot of people say that when you compare both, right, actually you still stretch your Sing dollar more on a dollar to dollar basis in Singapore.
Yes, definitely.
Therefore, go back in Singapore. Not a logic that I agree. but it's true. The math works out. I just want to add this thing, right? The income level, right, for a lot of Malaysians that you see official, right? It's a diluted level.
Yes, sir.
I can tell you for a fact, I'm not going to call my friends, okay? But I cannot stress, right, how many distant friends that I have. Right? Acquaintances.
I know.
Hi-bye friends, okay, who underreport the income. Not on purpose, they just never think to what. And I know this is very prevalent in Malaysia for two reasons. The first is, they already did a study in Malaysia, right? 30% of our economy, right, is the black shadow economy. And shadow economy doesn't mean it's illicit behavior. It just means people who earn a certain amount don't report. That's all it means. It could be illicit, it could be just a harmless mistake, right? Yes, under declaring is a mistake, all right, guys. All right. And I also know the government knows this because that's what the GST is for.
Oh, to get back.
So it's like if you have a GST, that means, right, the fellow can under declare his income.
But you cannot escape
once he spend, he will have to pay lah.
Yeah.
So that's how you can capture, right?
That's
so
true.
whatever you see, right, in Malaysia, whenever you see Malaysia income very low lah, it happens all the time. So many, in my field, right, finances, so many Instagram channels, YouTube, they just tap onto this part of the Malaysian psyche that we are all low earners. They look at that, only 4K median income, 2.6.
I don't know about you all, right? But when you all were younger, this is a bit of a side note. I know we end of the podcast. But this side note, when you're studying very hard last time in school, and then your friends all tell you, I didn't study. But actually everybody freaking studied. Then you go exam.
I didn't study.
I can tell,
For me, I really studied. I would say I studied. But a lot of people, I didn't study.
It's competitive behavior.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing, actually. Right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Oh, I don't learn a lot. After that, wait, what? Is that a new tag, bro? You know what I mean?
It's like all the rich boomers, bro.
Yeah.
Like cash rich. But then they pretend like
they will complain, you see Singapore, this, Singapore, that. Then when they die, right, you find out their kid inherited 10 million. Hey, bro. What oppression is this? What kind of oppression? you can give your kids 10 million ringgit.
Maybe it's a cultural thing. That's why it has been like circulating downwards.
But I also don't understand why generally happens with the boomers. They always like their next generation to move abroad. Do you all get that?
I can only speak as a Chinese. I would say, we are a migration
Specialist.
centric. We are a migration centric race, I would say. Maybe we got out of our country of origin.
There's a Chinatown in almost every country.
Yeah.
So I think in Chinese, so in Chinese, right, you can correct me if I'm wrong because my Chinese is terrible. 中国 means common man, right?
No, 中国 means middle kingdom.
Middle. So 中国人 is middle kingdom man, right? But you know what's 美国 or not? It's America, bro. What's 美国, bro?
It's a beautiful country.
A beautiful country, bro. 美国 is beautiful country, bro. So I mean, says a lot, right, about why they want to migrate. And the branding also is like that.
In fact, I just again not related to pot but Japan they call it 日本.
What's 日本?
日 is sun, 本 is origin.
No way.
Yeah.
Origin people.
日. Yeah. Time of the rising sun. Origin of.
So naturally.
Right?
Yeah. Nick verified.
So it's pretty cool. But I think it's a 4-0. This podcast.
But that's the thing. Younger, I would say go.
Yeah. Why not?
But now it just kind of goes like at this point in time.
Okay.
It's like,
so if the person is young, I'll say this. And this one, young people, right? If you are like just graduated, you get a chance to go. You have to take notice of this. You go there. You eat crap for 10 years. You live in the same place for 10 years. You climb up the Singaporean corporate ladder as high as you can. After 10 years, right, you should be able to save up 100, maybe if you are good, 200K Sing dollars. Come back.
Wow, then you live like a king, way.
Why are we limited to Singapore?
No, because 50%, right? Because everyone talk about how good Singapore, so we can use that. But I think you need to do this because what happens is when people go to Singapore, they fall into the honey trap where everything's so convenient.
Yeah.
They don't want everything. So what ends up happening is that they can save up their amount. And a friend of mine did this exactly. He and his wife saved up 250,000 Sing.
Wow.
That's like 800K, or plus in Malaysia. There's so many things you can do here. And they dump everything into a private property.
Of course they did.
And then they
course they did.
And then
such a Malaysian thing to do.
yeah, and then they said, "Bo piano," meaning no choice. If we don't do it, then the property prices are going to go up. Like, bro, if you fall into that trick as a young guy,
because you have become innately Singaporean in order to
correct.
Yeah.
So you need to give yourself a timeline, and I would recommend that you come back. And probably if you work at corporate, you probably have an international exposure. You know how things work outside, so you can come back to Malaysia to.
People forget it's tough, man.
Oh, then there's the problem. Then you just 250K Sing down.
The one thing I want to add though is we look a lot at Malaysia as opportunity cost, but I think a lot of times in Singapore there is opportunity cost as well. So for example, if you're earning there and you want to start a YouTube channel, a camera there costs a lot cheaper. I just want to put that out.
100%.
So like if you want to start something on your own there, it's 100%. Good also.
Yeah.
It's just how you.
In fact, I have a number. If you want me to go to Singapore, right? If you charging anything below 10K Sing, it's either remote or no. If you're above, maybe I can consider staying at JB. I think you give me 20K Sing, then maybe I'll stay in Singapore.
Yeah, but I feel like if there is a formula to go somewhere and come back, if there is a trajectory for somebody to graduate and go out and come back to Malaysia,
it would have been done.
I would say don't go to Singapore.
True.
Go to places where you are going to learn new things, because culturally
it's almost the same.
Very much similar.
Yeah.
It's true.
If you go to a place where it's a bit more structured like Singapore, but it offers you all
insight.
the unsaid stuff, like maybe if you move to UK, you learn a new culture.
Yeah. True.
The new way of living. Or you go to Australia or Germany or any other non-English speaking countries, but a structured first world nation. When you come back, you will bring certain things that you would not have learned in Singapore.
Unique.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think a lot more can be said, but we gotta
make it short and sweet.
How many minutes?
46.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Actually, it's a bit less. But yeah. All right. If you guys enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This time I will remember to put the Patreon link. So do consider if you enjoyed the content. That's all, folks.
Peace.